What is up, you guys? It is Sammy from Fandomverse Comics, back with more comic book news. What is up, you guys? Before I dive into all the comics, I do want to give you a reminder at the end of the video there will be some upcoming news for DC. And also while you're at it, please do the subscribe thing right here on the side with the bell as well. But anyways, let's get going. So the first one I do want to talk about is going to be The Amazing Spider-Man number 54. And that continues with The Last Remains. There's an awesome nullified cover, and I'll share both covers right here. But basically, I didn't get a chance to read any of the Marvel and Indies, but it said in the synopsis that punishment will be handed by Kindred, which I'm guessing it continues with Kindred. But yeah, we will see. I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan. Nobody shoot me, but anybody who is, stay tuned for that one. Next on my list is going to be the American Vampire... Yes, American Vampire 1976, number 3. And I actually really like those books. But more than I like the books, I love the covers this week. The A and the B. The A more than the B, surprisingly. But I'll share both right here. And basically that is about Skinner and his friends, his groups that his brother and his friend, I don't know. Anyways, but they're trying to fight for their lives. And there's a huge and crazy twist. So definitely want to add that to your collection. Next on my list is going to be Batman Black and White, which honestly, I'm not a huge fan with the whole black and white comics. That's just me. I love black and white covers, just not my books, because it's not the same as reading a manga. Definitely not the same. It's just the black is so intense. But this book basically is a bunch of short stories with various artists and various writers as well. But there is one story I did really like, and that was called Metamorphosis by Willow Wilson. And it's basically about Killer Croc. I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but you definitely have to check it out and read that story and let me know what you think. Next on my list is going to be, before on my list, there is a Peach Momoko cover that I'm going to share right here because that version of Talia al Ghul is pretty cool. I love her eyes. That's kind of Peach's thing, but it's so good. Next is going to be Captain Marvel, number 24. And basically, Captain Marvel finds friends in a strange new world, but are they friends or foes? I don't know. But that's one a lot of people are asking for, so I wanted to throw that in here. Next is going to be Death Metal: The Last Stories. DC stories. Anyways, it's a bunch of short stories with various artists and writers as well in that one. I want to say my favorite in there is the first story, and that's basically about all the different Teen Titans and Young Justice, all the younger characters in this, and you get to see them all at once, and it's kind of cool just to see all the different versions of them. But yeah. And next on my list, and I'm putting this on here because I got a lot of crap for not being a huge fan of crossover number 1 by Donny Cates. So this week crossover 2 comes out, and I'm going to give it a shot. So I actually grabbed myself a crossover to read before the next one comes out this week, and it's basically, what is their names, is like Otto, Ellie, and Ava. They rise from the ashes of the comic book store to basically find the truth, what lies behind the dome. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a second chance. So that will be out this week. I mean, Donny Cates does amazing work, so I should shut my mouth and try and read it. Next on my list, which I want to say this is my number 2 of the week because I've only read DC, so these are all going to be DC. Detective Comics 1032. And so it continues with Hush, and I have a feeling they're going to be leading up to some future state stuff. I get that feeling. But I've never seen Hush this dark, this crazy, which is kind of exciting because I feel like in the next issue there might be a death. Or maybe this person gets saved. I don't know. And finally we get a son and the father work together. You already know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say anything. But I definitely feel like those two is what's going to be leading for future state. But in this issue you don't get any more of the Mirror. I feel like he'll be back maybe in the next issue or after that. Who knows? So... and the Lee Bermejo cover, I'm actually going to share right here because that was amazing. It almost looked like a real picture at first, and then I looked closer and I was like, oh, that's definitely artwork, but still pretty cool. And the number 1 this week, maybe not surprisingly, is going to be The Flash 767. And that is part 2 of Endless Winter. So if you're digging Endless Winter, you definitely want to add this one. You get to see definitely more of Black Adam, and I really liked how they did that. can't say too much, but it was so good. It was so good. And the cover, the B cover is amazing. And that is by, who's that? Hickman Hibachi. I'm gonna share that. But you definitely are gonna have to check it out. And I'm not gonna say that about all of the Endless Winter, because there's another Endless Winter that does come out this week that I wasn't a fan of. So don't think I like everything. But next on my list is definitely gonna be Guardian of the Galaxy's number 9. So, reason why I threw this one in here is because a lot of people have had it on their list, but also there's a pretty cool nullified cover as well. Share both of them right here. So in this issue, they think Peter is dead, but he's not. He's on the side in like kind of like a separate universe. But is he Peter Quill or is he Star-Lord? Which to me is kind of confusing, because to me I thought they were both, but let me know. And then next we do have a number 1 this week, and a lot of people asked for it, so I wanted to throw that in here. It's gonna be Homesick Pilots number 1. And I don't know if it's one I'm gonna like, but in the synopsis it said, a haunted house in California. I'm just summarizing it. But at the very end, it says a haunted house in California, and at the very end it says Power Rangers meets The Shining, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that combo. I love The Shining. Not sure if I want Power Rangers mixed with The Shining, with the haunted house. But anyways, so that is coming out this week, number 1. And next, the reason why I added this one, only because it's part of King in Black, and that's Namor number 1. And so there is a King in Black cover and the A cover, and I'll share both of them. But basically it's saying a chilling story of the birth of Atlantis' greatest villains. So if you're digging the King in Black thing, you might want to add that to your list. And next, so this is kind of a big one this week. It's going to be Lock and Key number 0. So finally you have IDW and Sandman coming together, and this is basically going to be a reintroduction of the story and the characters, but also stay tuned for the comic, the number 1 coming out next month, which is Lock and Key Hell and Gone number 1. So that'll be out next month. And then another one to add is going to be Marauders number 16. So the synopsis was literally, I can read it to you right now. Red Revenge. The Black King, what does it say? The Black King did wrong, he must pay. So that's all I can give you about that comic, but that will be out this week as well. And the next one I actually personally wanted to throw in because I like Red Mother. Red Mother, I believe, I didn't write down the number, but I think it's number 12, will be out this week. And if you've read Red Mother, it had such a slow start, but every ending was like a teaser, and then you expected the next issue to like give you more, and it didn't until the very end with a little tiny teaser, and you're like, what the heck? And it was like that for so long. And then finally this issue, I feel like they may give you so much, I'm hoping. So they say that Daisy faces the Red Mother in her court. The true plan is revealed, and Daisy will learn why her life was destroyed. So I was like, oh, adding that to my list. And then next on my list, I have Strange Academy number 6, which is the writer, of course, Scotty Young, and we have the artist and the cover artist, who is Humberto Ramos. So they say the students face an ancient evil order called the Hollow. That was in the synopsis, I just stole it real quick. So that will be out this week. And finally, we have Superman Special number 1, which is part 3 of Endless Winter. So for me, I was excited to read this because I've been digging the whole Endless Winter thing. The beginning was good. You get to finally see who Frost King is. You get his name and a little bit of his backstory. Then in the middle of the book, I was like, art style, Then the ending was actually really good. I was like, why couldn't the whole book be like this? But it finally got my attention. Now I'm excited for part 4. And then next on my list is going to be Sweet Tooth number 2. And kid you not, Sweet Tooth definitely was number 3 on my list, which surprised me because number 1 was really iffy. I liked it. And at the end, the beginning was like, what am I getting myself into? But number 2 was pretty good. Definitely not the same Gus that we've read in the past. It's a kind of a different version of him, a different story as well. But it caught my attention. It was good the whole way through. But, yep. And you're kind of wondering if this is a clone of Gus or if this is just a whole new character. And next on my list is going to be Tales of the Dark Multiverse Flashpoint. And this is basically what if the Reverse Flash finally had his perfect world after Flashpoint. So we know all the stories got twisted and turned around and everybody was kind of upset and then Flash was trying to turn it back. But what if it didn't and the Reverse Flash thrived? But for me, this was one on the lower stack of DC for me. But everybody has different taste. I was like, But surprisingly, that issue was supposed to be out before Dark Multiverse, Wonder Woman, War of the Gods. So, yeah. And then next, and this is going to be the big one for Marvel, in my opinion, this week, and that's going to be Venom number 31. So this continues. This is basically a tie-in to King in Black, and this is what basically what happens when Eddie Brock comes face to face with Null. Very excited. I'm excited actually for this whole King in Black thing. But yep. And then lastly on my list is going to be Wonder Woman 768, and this continues with Liar Liar, but you get to see some more about this character and why she's crazy. Learn who her dad is, which you kind of already know, but the relationship and why she's so crazy. It's actually really good. And I'm not a fan of Wonder Woman, so it's pretty happy. But that's all the comic books I want to talk about, but I do want to dive into some DC news. So DC has announced and also put in all of these books a couple previews to what is to come for Future State. So they announced there's going to be a Green Lantern, Suicide Squad, Teen Titans Academy, Justice League Dark, Swamp Thing, which is what I'm excited for, Wonder Girl, Batman, and then another version of Batman, at first everybody was really freaked out about Future State because we thought so many titles were going to be gone for 2 months. But now I just realized they're not going to be gone. They're just going to be different for 2 months. Because I know for a fact there's going to be another Wonder Woman, and there's going to be a Catwoman, there's going to be a couple other things. But I'm definitely excited for Future State. I was a little nervous in the beginning just because I didn't want to see... When they did Flashpoint last time and there was a new 52, I was really upset. As a lot of people were, and then some people really digged it, but I personally didn't like it, and I had a feeling this was going to be like that. But now, the more information they leak out, I kind of need a refresher on all the characters anyways. So, but yeah. That's all the comic book news I want to dive into this week, but stay tuned for my next video, and please do that social media thing where you like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.